Welcome to episode 2 of Meal Prep with Coach LJ. I hope you enjoyed last week. I enjoyed getting everybody's feedback from that. And speaking of feedback, I want to talk about how last week ended up being some very kid-friendly type meals. So we have Peyton Jacobs. Peyton, come in, joining us today to give us his feedback on how he enjoyed the lunch dish, which was the chicken chili soup. Go ahead and tell us your feedback from that.
Yeah, so I normally don't like healthy food, but this was really good. I don't know why, but it was good.
What intrigued you to try it out? What did you say?
It looked good. So I tried it.
And you said it what? Smelled good, right?
Yeah, it smelled good.
Smelled good. And you had it for lunch and dinner?
Yep.
A couple times throughout the week? Okay, is that something you would want your mom cook again?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, thank you, Peyton. That is my own personal child, which is why he said duh. So he did enjoy the chicken chili soup, and that was very unexpected because he doesn't normally eat things like that, but he wanted to try it out because he said it smelled good and looked good, and he ended up really enjoying that throughout the week as well as me. All right, so let's talk about this week. We're going to go over to the chalkboard. I kept the meals the same this week as far as the macros go. I didn't want to change it up right now because I want you guys to get used to macro counting. And let me say this about macros too. I did have some feedback on could I help with macros. Yes, so I own CrossFit 1776 here in Troy, Alabama. And I will, for $50, set your macros and help you with nutritional needs if you're not an athlete at the gym. If you are an athlete here in Troy, Alabama, and you come to our gym, it's just $35 for athletes at the gym. So if you live outside of Troy and you still need help setting your macros, please feel free to contact me at Lori, L-O-R-I, Jacobs, 378@yahoo.com and reach out to me and I'll be glad to help you, or you can send me a text or phone call at 229-854-2936, and again I'll help you set your own personal macros so that you can get that on track and of course help you with your meal plans. Alright, so for today we still have our 2 protein shakes and our protein pudding. I didn't want to change that. And then we're going to have 3 food items mixed right here in the middle. So there's our protein shake, just like we had last week. Number 2 for our second breakfast is going to be a Paradise Parfait. And then number 3, a chicken pot pie soup. Number 4 is a slow cooked chocolate banana bread. Number 5 is our protein shake with the target. And 6 is that protein pudding, which I did bring to show you guys today so you can get an idea of how to complete that. Today's episode is mostly about being kid-friendly or teen-friendly. Again, Peyton kind of gave me that idea to do that. So I'm going to now have a special guest, Inslee. Inslee, if you'll come in. This is Inslee, and Inslee went ahead before the show and she made her own parfait here. These were our toppings that we had available and our yogurt. So Inslee, tell us what you decided to put in your parfait.
I put in strawberries, mangoes, granola, and butterscotch chips.
Okay. Is this something that you would maybe do for breakfast throughout the week?
Yes.
All right. Well, go ahead and go enjoy that. I'm going to call you back on the show to tell us how you like it. Here you go. Can you take it with you? All right. We'll call you back on in a minute and get your feedback. Just like last week, the same cookbook I'm using is the Skinny Taste that I suggested you might want to pick up. This Paradise Parfait is in the Skinny Book Taste cookbook. If you're following it with the fruit, this is your macros here. Of course, you can have any toppings you want for breakfast, depending on what you're doing. Then that would depend on your toppings, whether you're trying to stay away from sugar or if you want to keep it kid-friendly. So again, I wanted to keep it kid-friendly, so I did mix in some toppings like butterscotch chips and the chocolate chips along with the fruit. So if you aren't following this recipe with the fruit toppings, then you would have to look at the toppings that you're putting on there in addition and make sure that you add that in for your macros. So definitely remember that if you're not going exactly from the recipe, to do that, okay? All right, so again, that's a great thing for breakfast you can do that's fun for the whole family because they can come in and just kind of fix it the way they want to. All right, meal 3. So since the soup was a hit, last week's soup was in the crock pot. This one's just been on the stove. It is chicken pot pie soup. I'm gonna take it off though because it is complete, that you can see. And let me turn to that page in the recipe book. It's here. Okay. This is something that I feel like kids and teens would enjoy that gets their vegetables in. They usually like chicken type dishes. If there's a particular vegetable they don't like, we don't really like carrots, so I left the mixed vegetables out and just got like English peas and corn to put in instead. So you won't see carrots in ours. If you are doing something like paleo and you need to keep this paleo friendly, then obviously you would not put in the potatoes, so you would leave those out. So remember, depending on what your specific nutritional needs are, then you could definitely adjust some of these recipes to meet your needs. Okay, so this is our chicken pot pie soup. And the next thing we have is our slow cooked chocolate banana bread, and that recipe is here. This again would be, like we talked about last week, would be before training because it has your carbs. Last week we didn't have quite enough carbs in what we fixed as our food, so we had a core drink to go with it. But this does have about almost 30 grams of carbs, so you would just have this with some water or something like that. And again, remember, if you're working out in the afternoon, you want your fats mostly in the morning and carbs closer to your training, okay? So this has been cooking for about 3 hours in the crock pot. And if you're not a Georgia fan, then please forgive me, but you know, football season is coming up, so go Dogs. This is something you can do at tailgating time, you guys. So very easy to do at tailgating time as well. So this is our chocolate swirl banana bread that's cooking in here. You do put it in that loaf pan, then you have it sitting on. So make sure you have a large enough crock pot where you can still put the top on. If you have a rectangular crock pot, that's going to be better than the oval one. And if you don't have a rack for something to sit kind of elevated up in your crock pot or sit like mine and still closed, then you can take tinfoil, roll it into balls, about 4 of them, place it down, flatten it on top, and then that kind of is like a little pedestal within your crock pot to raise it from being off the bottom. That will help, okay? Now, a lot of people, and especially if you're doing paleo, you don't want a whole lot of sugar, and hardcore 100% paleo, no sugar. But this does have some sugar in it, but to reduce that sugar, I did get these sugar-free chocolate chips to go in there, okay? And then the flour, you can use almond flour, and instead of the brown sugar, you can get the coconut sugar in place of that. So again, there are ways to make sure that you're fitting your needs specific for the way that you're eating. And if you ever have questions about that, please feel free to email or text me, and I can tell you some great substitutes to use for those things. But I just want to show you guys this one today so that you see that things like that are available for you to purchase. All right, last thing I want to show you is our protein pudding. I had some questions about that last week. You can get any kind of sustained release protein to have before bed. Your casein protein is going to be the best. I take about 2 tablespoons of my almond butter, heat it in the microwave with a little bit of water for about 30 seconds, then put my protein in. This one I've got is cinnamon flavored, just to give it an extra little taste. And then just eat that. It's just like a pudding once you heat it in the microwave. So very simple. Just a little bit of water, 2 tablespoons of almond butter, and then you're serving to meet your macros. So this would be 25 grams of your protein, okay? All right, I'm gonna call Inslee back in here now that she's had her parfait and have to get her feedback. Alright, Ainsley, you're back again. Alright, how was it?
It was really good.
Okay. What's some other chocolates that you might, that maybe I don't have that you would think would be good on there for breakfast? You know?
Different kinds of fruits, I guess, but they were
Okay.
all really good.
Okay, you like some berries?
Yes.
Yeah, I was thinking some berries would be good on there.
Yes.
So thank you for coming on today and trying that out with us. All right, so that wraps up episode 2 of Meal Prep with Coach LJ. I hope you guys enjoyed that, and I'm looking forward to seeing you guys back for episode 3.